Let's do IGCSE Biology Paper 2, October-November 2024. The question number 1. Which organisms show the respiration, growth, movement, and excretion? This tell us some features. And our answer is A, because all the animals and plants, they show us these characteristics. So that's why we choose A. We don't choose B because it's not only the animals but also plants. Arthropods and flowering plants, because they choose specifically arthropods and flowering plants, so that's also wrong. And D is also wrong because not only plants but also animals. Question number 2. The chimpanzee and belongs to the species that is troglodytes. And what is the genus? What is the genus of this species? So genus is, we know that the first name here, pan, is genus, and the next one is species. So this is genus and this is species. So pan, B is our answer. A is not because A is the common name. C is not because that's the full name. And D is the species. So they ask the genus. Next, they show us a leaf and they ask you to use the key to identify the leaf. So let's move to this side. So leaf is not simple and with no leaflets. So that is like A is also wrong, B is wrong because it has so many leaflets. So you see here there are so many leaflets. So A, B is wrong. If you see C, that is also wrong because leaf edge is smooth. Smooth leaf is like this. So it is not because it has edges like this. So answer is D. Question 4. What is the function of mitochondria? So mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It produces energy. A is wrong because that is the part like absorb light is done by chlorophyll. That is not done by mitochondria. Produce glucose, that is done by different enzyme and chemical processes. D is also wrong because transport oxygen is done by RBCs. Next question, which row shows the function of cell membrane and cell wall in palisade cell? Palisade cell is plant cell in the leaf. So if you draw this one, outer cell is membrane is called cell wall, and in inner side we have cell membrane. This is cell membrane. So cell wall actually gives the support. So support to the cell, strength. And cell membrane is partially permeable. It allows particles to move in. So it belongs to active transport. So B is right. The next question is the specimen. They give you the magnification is 10 times and the image is 30 millimeter. So what is the actual size? A. So if you see, this is the magnification formula. If we rearrange the formula, A equal I over M. So if we divide 30 over 10, that is 3 millimeter. But if you see the unit, that is micrometer. So in order to convert millimeter to micrometer, we just multiply 3 into 1000. That is 3000 micrometer. The answer is D. Next question, they show a diagram having water potential of 3 plant cells. The more negative value, the higher the solute concentration. So the question is, what is the immediate movement of water that will occur between the 3 cells? So if you see R, it has a more negative value. So it has the highest pressure, then P and then Q. So water, if you see A, So it will move from here P to Q, that's right, and from R to P and then Q, from R to P and P to Q. So this seems right. If you see B, so it says from Q to P. So Q to P like this is not possible because P already have high potential than Q. So this is wrong. C says from Q to P. So Q to P, that's again it's not possible because P has high potential than Q. So that's wrong. From D says from R to Q. So R to Q only. So that's also not wrong because from R to P and P to Q or R to Q, that's possible. So this is also wrong because R is high potential, then P, and lowest is in the Q. Next question, which base in DNA molecule always pair? So we have A, T, C, G. So A and T, they make a pair. C and G, they make a pair. So if you see G, so G and C, so they make one pair. So answer is C. They show us a diagram, then the steps in an enzyme control reaction. So this is the substrate and the enzyme, and this one is the complex, and we have the product and then again the enzyme. So what is X? So X is this one substrate and enzyme complex. So answer is B. A is wrong because this one here is the active site. The product, that's also wrong because this one is the product. The substrate, that's also wrong because here is the substrate. Question 10, the graph shows the effect of temperature on time taken for complete digestion of starch. So at which temperature the rate of digestion of starch is highest? So if you see on the x-axis they give us the temperature, so temperature here increase, and on this y-axis they give us the time. So if you see the temperature at 10, so it take like 6 minutes. So it is the rate is slower. As you increase the temperature at 20, the rate increase. The 30, the time is around 4 minutes, less than 4. And at 40, there is almost 1 minute. So at 40, this temperature, the digestion of starch is the highest. So here the enzyme work more faster at this temperature because when the temperature is lower, the rate of digestion also becomes slower. So our answer is C because at 10 is very slow, 30 is faster but not as faster as 40, and 50 is slower because high temperature can denature the enzyme, so it can no longer bind with the substrate. Question 11, which substance is needed to make chlorophyll? You know, chlorophyll is present in the leaf. That's why the leaf has a green color. Green color is because of the chlorophyll, and this chlorophyll absorbs the sunlight. So they ask you which substance is needed to make chlorophyll. So we know that magnesium ion, they are in the fertilizers. So they are absorbed by the root hairs. Whenever in our house we have plants or flowering plant, their leaf become yellow, so we give them fertilizer, because the fertilizer has the magnesium ion, so that can absorb by the root hairs and it make the chlorophyll, so leaf get green color. So that green color absorb light and do the process photosynthesis. That is actually a process to make food. Next question, the diagram show a plant cell. In which tissue this cell found? So if you see this picture very clearly, it has a lot of chloroplast, and these are the chloroplast here, and his black one is the nucleus, and we have cytoplasm and big vacuole, and our answer should be B, because it has a lot of chloroplast that absorb the light. A is the epidermis, the most upper surface of the leaf that has no chloroplast. So because this cell has the chloroplast, so our answer is B. So wrong. A is wrong. C, root epidermis, is no. Why? Because root hairs do not absorb any sunlight, so they don't have chloroplast. And xylem do not have chloroplast, so is wrong. So main key is the chloroplast. Question 13, which component of balanced diet are need to make hemoglobin? Hemoglobin is in RBC, red blood cell. It binds with the oxygen, and it also and the question says, and to prevent scurvy and rickets. Scurvy is related to vitamin C, and rickets is a disease in the children, that deficiency of vitamin D. So if we have less vitamin C or less vitamin D, person can get scurvy or rickets. So our answer A is wrong, because carbohydrate, the sugar, that do not relate to our question. B also has the carbohydrate and proteins, so they give us the energy and make our muscle. That is also the wrong answer. The next one, the mineral ions and vitamins. Yes, that's what we need. We need hemoglobin, iron. We need iron. That is the mineral ion, and we need vitamins. So our answer is C. D says the vitamins. Yes, we need vitamins, but not fiber for scurvy and rickets. Fiber absorb water, so D is not right. Which group of organisms belong to the same organ system? So this is a question about the organ system. So remember, in organ system, the organs should belong to the same system. So first, let's see A. Diaphragm is respiratory system, esophagus is digestive system, this is respiratory system, this is digestive system, and this is respiratory system. So wrong. Heart is circulatory system, liver belongs to digestive, and lungs respiratory. So that's not the same organ system. Heart again circulatory system, digestive system, respiratory system. So they're different systems, the organs of different systems. So it's not. But esophagus is belong to digestive system, intestine belongs to digestive system, stomach belongs to digestive system. That is right. Question 15, they show a picture of a villus. Remember, villus are present in different parts of body, especially in the intestine. They absorb the glucose and other things that are present in that are required by the body, so they increase the absorption. So which part transport glucose and fatty acid away from the villus? So the question says that which part transport glucose and fatty acid. So if we talk about glucose, so glucose is absorbed from the capillaries, and that are very small vessels in the villi. So that is the 4. And fatty acid are absorbed by lacteal. And number 3 here, this is the lacteal. So 3 is for fatty acid. And our answer should be 4 and 3. Okay, so I hope this you understand, because for glucose, it must be absorbed by the capillaries. It is 4 and 3 is for lacteal. Question 16, which condition lead to lowest rate of transpiration in plant? So the lowest rate of transpiration means loss of water. So if they ask you lowest rate, so when a plant lose the water at lowest, of course when it is cool and high humidity, when air has more water and it is cool, then the water loss will be very less. So that's right. B says when it is cool, yes, but windy, no. Wind can increase the rate of transpiration, so that's wrong. When it is warm, then plant lose more water. That's wrong. Low humidity, it means that air is dry, so it means the plant will lose more water. That's wrong. When it is warm and windy, no, that will lead to lose more water by the plant, so that's also wrong. Question number 17, that the table show the transport tissue of the plant and some substances that may not travel through these tissues. Which row is correct for translocation? So remember, translocation means transport of glucose and amino acid. So it also have the sucrose. So the plant tissue, for example, the phloem, what substance it transports? So this is maltose. So no, maltose is not transported by phloem. B, phloem, but it transports the sucrose. The phloem is transported by the sucrose, so that's right. C says that the xylem transport amino acid. That's wrong, because xylem is linked with water and mineral ions. So that's also wrong. Amino acid are transported also in the phloem. D says that the xylem and water, but it also has the mineral ions, so we do not choose D. So our answer should be here B. Easy. The next question shows you a diagram of the circulatory system of the fish, and remember that the fish has single circulatory system. So the question is asked about you the structure X. What is X? So here, if you see the diagram, here is the heart of the fish, and after the blood come back to the heart, the next it will move to get some oxygen, and it is gills. In the fish get the oxygen from the gills, so it is the B. It's not the aorta. There is no aorta. C is heart, so no, it's not the heart. Here is the heart. And D says vena cava. So vena cava, we know that it is a vessel just before the heart here. So it's also not. So our answer is B. Next question, which factor increase the risk of developing Coronary heart disease. So coronary heart disease, what are the risk factors that can increase the risk? So increasing age, yeah, as we grow older, the blood vessel become less flexible. Regular exercise, no. If you do more regular exercise, you keep yourself fit. Smoking, yes. Stress, yes. So 1, 3, and 4. The next question is, which feature of the human body protect against pathogen in food? So in the food, the first is RBC, the stomach acid, and WBC. So against the pathogens like bacteria, RBCs, they don't protect us, but stomach acid, yes. WBC, yes. Next question, which causes air to enter into the lungs? So it's called, this is about inspiration. So during inspiration, the diaphragm, first they say external intercostal muscle, so it contract. So when it is contract, so so our thorax, it increase, it move, the volume increase, so our chest rise, so the volume increase, the air pressure go decrease. And if here is the diaphragm down here, if it is diaphragm, so diaphragm will move down, and that's how the volume increase and the pressure decrease. So answer is C. The next question is aerobic respiration. Respiration, where oxygen is there, and which number represent the letters in X, Y, and Z. So when we balance this, we know that it's a glucose C6H12O6. So glucose is C6H12O6. So X here is 12, Y here is 6, and we get 2O, because here if we make it 2, so this is that makes it 12. So keep the equation balanced so you understand, because here we have 6 oxygen, and here we have 12. So total we have 18, and here we have 6, and here we must have 12. So it should be 2. The next question, they ask you, the student investigate the rate of anaerobic respiration. The total volume of carbon dioxide produced after every 10 minutes for 40 minutes, and this show you the result. And if you see at 0, the volume was less, and at 10 minutes the volume increased too high, at 20 the rate becomes slower, at 30 minutes is more slower, at 40 is 41. So question is, between which time the rate of anaerobic respiration fastest? So from 0 to 10, you see from 6 to 30, like almost 24 centimeter cube. So A is right. 24, which part of amino acid is removed during deamination? Deamination is remove the amino acid. So it's a nitrogen containing part, because amino acid has nitrogen, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. So removing this nitrogen called deamination. That's nitrogen containing part. Which process happens in glomerulus? So glomerulus is like this, and here are the blood vessels. Here is the filtration happens here. So blood enter into this direction and then move here. So here the process that happen here is filtration. Assimilation is the part where the food become part of your body. Food become part of your body. That assimilation. Deamination is the process that we talk here, removal of nitrogen. Filtration happen here. The component of the blood like glucose, the glucose, urea, water, and other mineral ions, they actually filter out here and then reabsorb. Some of them are reabsorbed and some of them become the part of the urine. So answer is C. Question 26, they show us synapse. Synapse means the gap. So this one here is the synapse. What are the identities of two neurons, and in which direction does the neurotransmitter pass? So if you see this diagram very clearly, the direction should be from Q to P, and because Q is our sensory neuron here, it is sensory neuron, and after sensory neuron we have a relay. This is our relay neuron, and after relay neuron go to the motor neuron. So it's from Q to P, and then sensory, and then relay. So answer is D. Which responses occur in iris, in the eye, when a person walks from bright area to dim area? So when light is high, so the pupil size is very small. This is the pupil. So the small, it is very small. So when when a person enter into a dim light, so the pupil actually become larger, big. So because more light have to enter to see the object clearly, so the circular muscle that in the iris, they relax, and the radial muscle, they actually contract. So circular muscle relax and radial muscle contract. So that's how they can change the size of the pupil. The question is about hormone, adrenaline and insulin. So adrenaline are present on the kidney. These are our two kidneys, and here it is adrenaline. So these are the adrenal glands. Adrenal glands produce adrenaline. Adrenaline is actually a stress hormone. It's a hormone when it is secreted when you run or fight. So the number one says that adrenaline decrease the pupil diameter. So no, it make the pupil bigger, because when you run or you fight, your pupil need to be bigger so you can see clearly. So one is wrong. 2, adrenaline increase pupil diameter. Yes. Insulin decrease blood glucose concentration. No. Insulin decrease blood glucose concentration. Yes, because after we eat, our blood has so much sugar, so insulin come and it absorbs the sugar and it make the glycogen in the liver. So the glucose will convert into glycogen in the liver. So it decrease the blood glucose concentration. So that's right. Insulin increase the blood glucose concentration. No, it's actually the glucagon. Glucagon increase. So answer is 2 and 3. The next question is about bacteria, MRSA. Their resistance to antibiotics, and these processes can occur in bacteria. Artificial selection, genetic variation, mutation, natural selection. So the question they ask you, which process leads to development of antibiotic resistant? So the antibiotic, when we take too much antibiotic, we eat, our resistance increase. So if we see artificial selection, so this is actually not the cause of antibiotic resistant. Genetic variation is yes, because bacteria knows how to respond to the antibiotic, and they do this genetic variation in their DNA. Mutation, yes, is a change in DNA. And natural selection, yes. And those bacteria whose resistance become stronger, they live and they develop. So answers 2, 3 and 4. Question number 30. The farmer grow the hot pepper plant and sweet pepper plant in different fields on his farm. Each year the farmer save seeds from pepper plant to grow the next year crops. So one year the farmer noticed that some of the seeds from sweet pepper plants have grown into the hot and sweet peppers. So what is the most likely explanation? Because it's a kind of a cross pollination. If you see A, self pollination is no, because self pollination, the male female parts should be on the same plant. So this is not, because this is between two different crops, the sweet red peppers and hot pepper. They are sweet pepper plants and hot pepper plants. So they are two different. So this is a cross pollination. So because he has noticed there are seeds of sweet pepper plants. So it's a cross pollination in where the hot pepper plants, from here the pollens actually move to the sweet pepper plants. So if you see D, there is a cross pollination that has occurred. The pollens transfer from anther. Anther is the male part of a hot pepper plant on the stigma of the, if you draw ovary, this is the stigma, this is the stigma, and pollen come here from the anther of sweet pepper plant. So from hot pepper plant they move to sweet pepper plant. So it's a cross pollination. 31. Why do different cells in human body produce different proteins? Because the genes that are required by that cell, they are expressed. For example, in the pancreas, the genes for insulin are expressed. These genes are also present in other cells, but they are not expressed. So only the particular genes are expressed. So which graph shows the mean mass of DNA per cell before, during and after mitosis? So if you see after the mitosis, so mitosis is cell division in which number of chromosomes remains same, 46 to 46, from parent to the daughter cell. So here this shows the mean mass of DNA. So in A it's a decrease, so this is not, A is not. In B is right, because it's remain the same. And C also shows it decrease, that's wrong. And D, so there's an increase in the mass of DNA, that's also wrong. This statement about the gene mutation. Mutation means change. Mutation is a change in the amino acid sequence. No, it's not amino acid. Mutations are source of genetic variation. Right. Mutation are caused by random mating. Um, that's also wrong. It's not caused by the random mating. Mutation happen during random fertilization. No, that is natural selection. C and D. The diagram shows the amount of energy in kilojoules per mole per year at each trophic level of food chain. So the producers, there are 88,000, and the producers are actually plants, and consumers, those animals who eat the plants, and we have tertiary consumers, so those animals who eat the other animals. So there's a loss of energy between producer to consumer. So they ask you the question that how much energy is lost. So if you do the calculation, it's almost 98%. The answer is D. Next question is, which process in the nitrogen cycle remove nitrogen? So that is nitrogen fixation. Decomposition means the bacteria and fungi decompose the dead organism. Denitrification means removing of nitrogen. Nitrification means change the nitrogen into nitrates. That is also wrong. So next is, what is population? Population is a group of species that live in the same area at the same time. So is D. Next question, the farmer has a small pond in their land. 1 year, most of organisms in the pond die. Next year, the farmer decreased the fertilizer. So this is a case of eutrophication, where they use too much fertilizers, and he decrease less fertilizer. So which statement explains why it helps increase the number of organisms in the pond? Because increasing if he use less fertilizer, so eutrophication will be less, and there increase oxygen in the water due to decrease in decomposition. As you have more eutrophication, there will be more decomposition, and the fish and the aquatic organism will die. So decreasing in fertilizer use can increase the oxygen. So answer is C. The next one is also calculation. They show you the graph, and what is the percentage increase in the number of breeding pairs 1996 to 2002. 1996 here, so it's almost, if you see, 60, and 2002 here, it's almost 230. So if you do the calculation, it will be almost 280% increase. Question 39. The what label structure make the bacteria useful? So for genetic modification, so we use C, that is plasmid, that can change, make a lot of new products like antibiotics, and very useful for cure, and also make other products like insulin and so many useful things in medicine. Question 40 shows you some apparatus to produce lactose-free milk, and they ask you, the X is the enzyme, and it reaction involving one of the substrate found in milk. What is X and what is Y? So the X is actually our enzyme lactase, and the remaining thing is lactose free milk, because we are talking about lactose, so that is the enzyme lactase, and the remaining thing, because is filter out, and the milk contain glucose, so it's our answer C.